Hello everybody. Today I'm going to talk about the whole Five Guys incident and what this has to do with gaming. Now, long story short, there's been a lot of drama with the developer of a game on Steam called Depression Quest, which is little more than just a web browser game with options you can click. And it was put on Steam Greenlight after a ton of controversy from both gamers and people on Steam who are saying this shouldn't be on there, to the developer going on and getting support from gaming blogs who were crying oppression. It eventually got greenlit, and it happened to release on the same day that the death of Robin Williams, a well-known actor who suffered from depression, was announced. Or around the same time. I forget exactly which, but it was around that very same time that the game was put on there, supposedly to raise awareness. Now, this would not have been as bad had the developer kept a low profile, but the problem is the developer has been caught up in lots of drama. And the drama has to do with Five Guys. Now, the thing was, this person was dating somebody as their boyfriend, and what happened was, well, the boyfriend finds out that this person who they were dating had been cheating on him with Five Guys, which is where the name comes from. Now, the main thing that makes this big is who these Five Guys were. 4 of them were indie game developers, so you've got, and one of these 4 people was her boss, who was married, and keep in mind having extramarital affairs, and the other person worked at Polytron, or with Phil Fish on Fez. Now, I'm going to lead into this next thing real quick, but long story short, this has resulted in a lot of backlash because of all these actions that have transpired, from cover-ups to denial to people getting banned from Steam forums and Steam reviews to, well, all these other things happening, such as Reddit actually banning people from making posts and deleting posts. I mean, there's actually a comment thread you can take a look at on Reddit where all the posts say deleted, 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 deleted. And there's a lot of them that say that. So, here's the thing that makes this critical. You know, the 5th person who wasn't an indie game developer? That person was a Kotaku writer. An industry game, like this guy is in the gaming industry as a writer for a major blog. And in fact, if you go to like Alexa, for example, they're a website that tells you how big a website is. And you can go to Kotaku and you'll find out that they're in like the top 1,000 websites in the USA. They're like, right now they're ranked at 513 out of a whole bunch. They're like number 513 in the most viewed websites in America. So this website has a lot of people viewing it, and this person writes articles. I mean, the people at this site write articles defending this person who has been in bed literally with one of the writers. And keep in mind, this is just more proof that the gaming, like the game journalism and stuff, it's not credible. It just isn't credible anymore. It's full of stuff like this. And it's been coming for a while. I mean, let's be honest, if you step back away from this, ignore the whole social justice stuff, ignore all of that, you'll start to see something. Gaming journalism has been taking a nosedive for years and years and years. I mean, let's be honest here, even if you get rid of the whole social justice aspect, you'll notice that there's a lot of crap in the gaming industry. For example, let's take a look at the whole Kane and Lynch incident. If you don't know, what happened was GameSpot fired a bunch of people because this guy gave Kane and Lynch, which was a game which was overly hyped up by the developers, and they bought tons of ads, and they gave it a bad score. So, under pressure from their advertisers, they fired the guy. And a whole bunch of other people left and formed Giant Bomb. And then what happened was, you've also got other things. For example, you've got publishers giving high scores to games that are panned by players. For example, and not just hardcore fans, I mean panned by tons of people who bought the game. For example, Call of Duty, later ones by Infinity Ward, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Ghosts. Modern Warfare 2 was infested with hackers, and then it was unbalanced, and the balancing issues never really got resolved, and it also had plenty of bugs. Modern Warfare 3 was even worse, and you even had like people online at one point making a page, I think, I forget what it was, but there was some whole boycott Modern Warfare 3 for a day campaign because Infinity Ward wouldn't fix it. And of course, let's be honest here, Call of Duty Ghosts was such a disaster. That game piled up at GameStop heavily, even more than MW3 did. The player base was low on that game, and many, even the hardcore Call of Duty fans, the ones who enjoyed MW3, thought Ghosts was a dud. Because it really was a dud. You had Halo 4, which was rejected by the MLG community, but it got high scores and sold a lot. And you had, and did I mention Halo 4's player base really tanked after Call of Duty Black Ops 2 came out? Gee, I wonder why. And then of course you also have stuff such as the whole, let me name another good game. I mean, good example. You've got stuff such as the Pokemon series, where that game gets high scores all the time despite it being literally a copy-paste. And of course you've also got stuff such as, you've got stuff such as Madden. You've got those games get high scores despite them being obvious rehashes with features removed and re-added, just like Pokemon. And then you've got games like Dynasty Warriors and Phantasy Star, which get low scores from reviewers for being rehashes, while the same websites give high scores to games like Pokemon, games like Infinity Ward, Call of Duty, and stuff like that. And another thing you need to know about this is that you've got stuff such as, let me name another good example of, bias and stuff. You've got Nintendo, which a while ago I think a website called them out for forcing you to return the copy of a game if you don't like it. Or you've got developers who just won't send people who they think will give them a bad score a review copy, so the reviewers who will give them a high score will get to post the review first and get more ad money. And did I mention you've also got stuff such as, oh yeah, I know, you've also got, when it comes to gaming, you'll have fanboys reviewing the game, or people who are hardcore fans of the game, and I've seen this at various review sites. And now what do we have? Well, right after indie developers, like the developers of Day One Gary's incident, trying to DMCA people, we've got this whole Five Guys incident, where you find out that this developer has actually been in bed with a game journalist who actually writes positive stuff about the person she's been in bed with. I mean, he's been in bed with, but that should tell you something about the gaming industry. And of course there's the whole social justice thing, which I don't need to say anything about it because, long story short, there's nothing new I can really say at this point. I mean, there are videos I'm going to post in the description that describe that situation far better than I ever could. But yeah, that's the problem with gaming, and especially journalism, but also some people in the game industry. These people, they have no sense of professionalism whatsoever. They can't keep their professional life and their business life separate. I mean, professional life and personal life separate. I mean, there's a difference between, it's like, when you have, you hear about that guy who, there's all sorts of people like that. You hear about some governor getting investigated for hiring a family member or a friend for a position instead of someone who's qualified. That's what it's kind of like. Except with gaming, it's like if you had news stories writing positive articles only about, let's just say, some celebrity because a celebrity gave him a bunch of money or did stuff like that. That should tell you something about how corrupt the gaming industry is today. It's just that corrupt. And honestly, it's a joke at this point. It really is. I'll post some links in the description that'll explain it far better than I could, because it's like 10 p.m. and I'm had a long day and I just had to get this. I just had to say what needed to be said. So about this whole situation, but there are people out there who can say like about the whole drama and go into more depth than I can right now and feel like it. So links in the description for all this current stuff. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention, but yeah, I mean, it should tell you something when every gaming journalism site is more about opinions that sound like they would have come out of Jack Thompson or one of those other anti-video game lawyers back in 2007, 2008, than something you'd expect to read written by a journalist at a gaming site. That's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.